Welcome to On Ice, the show about the show 20 years later. Today we're talking about Lost, Season 5, Episodes 1 and 2. I'm Will, also here is Ben, and you can watch full video episodes of the podcast on YouTube. Ben and I also release a bonus hangout show every week that can be found at patreon.com/Dr. Skeleton. How's it going, Ben?
I'm okay. I am fresh off of watching our Dear 2 episodes today. So I got a lot of stuff. Well, actually, my mind's pretty much empty anyway. It's always empty, but it's as full as it could possibly be.
Some would frame that as you procrastinating what you have to do to the very last minute. Others would say that you want it to be as fresh as possible. How would you frame it?
Yeah, I think it's normal. I don't think it's fair to say that, I'm procrastinating if I do something at the same exact time every week. That's called a schedule.
Or that you always procrastinate.
No, it's a
Like
schedule.
the scene in Reno 911 when Junior comes to work with they finally ask Junior why he wears his bulletproof vest on the outside of his clothes, and he said, "Well, I woke up drunk this morning." You're wearing it like that for 15 years. All right, that's fair. I mean, I guess I watch these on like Friday and Saturday anyway, so that's kind of late in the week as well.
Yeah. Why would I want to watch it? I mean, I guess I've said many times before, I watch an episode and I'm like, I really just want to watch the next couple episodes. But then we talk about it and I'm like, okay, I'll just do the same thing. I'll stick to my schedule. I will not be procrastinating, but I will stick to my schedule for next week as well. Why ruin a good thing? People are always calling me up and saying, I love that last episode.
Hey, this is working.
Don't change a thing.
Yeah. Yeah, the people are really encouraging us not to try to put ourselves out there any further than we already are. I mean, I wasn't super hot on the finale of season 4 like we talked about last time, even though I liked the rest of the season a great deal. But I do think this is a great start. Feels like a fresh start in a lot of ways. I'm totally in on what's going on with season 5 so far.
They do be doing the season, what do you call the first episode of a season? The season Genesis. The season opener?
I don't premiere.
There we go. They do be doing the season premiere the same way in a lot of seasons, I gotta say. They do like to do, they kind of did it 2 episodes in a row. Lost writers love to do like, ooh, who is this character who we can only see from the torso down?
Well, I think that's a cool. It develops its own language. Maybe is how you could spin that, right? Like, oh, it's gonna do the Lost thing.
I like it. I mean, I'm not being sarcastic. I do like it.
Yeah, because I remember that definitely happening with Desmond, or the season 2 opener, right, or the premiere there. I'm glad you brought up.
On.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up. Oh, never mind. Well, I forget what was it this time? Was it? Oh no, it was Dr. Chang. That's what the opening scene was, right? Because in the second episode they did it again, and I'm confusing it with that, where someone is getting beers out of a fridge.
Yes, it is much shorter, but Mr. Franklin Lapidus.
Yeah. It's and I'm glad you brought it up because it's not in the recap, but I thought that was probably the strongest opening to any episode of Lost. I think getting 2 ice cold beers out the fridge had me saying hell yeah.
Yeah, double fisting, I guess, as they say.
I don't think so, because he was holding 2 in one hand.
Well, isn't that what you call? Oh yeah, sorry.
This would be,
to me, a double fist is doubles
in a
in
fist.
one fist. And then I do 2 fists of
Two of
doubles.
those. Yeah.
Officer,
I have what he's having.
This is not a quadruple fist. This is a double
This
fist.
is simply a double
clearly
fist.
allowed by the law.
Yeah.
By the way,
so
sorry, I got one little Lapidus thing. I think that's a
You
French...
got one little Lapidus. I heard that.
Lapidus is clearly, I gotta say, pulling the calipers out, clearly Lapidus is a French name. Wouldn't you say?
Not necessarily.
Lapidus is not. Nobody's like, I'm from
It sounds like
Ireland.
Latin,
My name is...
honestly. Not like Spanish Latin.
I think, to me, it registers as a French name for an American family, like a family that once ago was French, but has long since been American. So I think his name is probably like I don't know, how would you say it in French? Lapide? But they've been saying it in America, in Louisiana, for a long time now. They've been saying Lapidus. But I think he used to be a Mr. Francois, or his ancestors would have been a Monsieur Francois Lapide. Or something like that.
I'm seeing like there might be a Hebrew connection to the name.
Lapidus?
Jewish Eastern Ashkenazi. Hebrew personal name. Lapidoth. Born in the Bible by the husband of Deborah.
Okay.
Also, like we talked about before, it's a surgical procedure for bunions.
Sure.
That
does not sound... I cannot imagine.
It's not French. It's Latin.
All the guys hanging around the Last Supper table. And we got Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, and Lapidus. Yeah.
No, Deborah's husband was Lapidus or Lapidoth. I don't know how you'd say it like that.
Sounded a little French to me, but okay.
Because of la? Just because of la?
And the is at the end, you know?
But you said that if you
like
pronounced it...
Lapidi?
No. Okay. Lapidi. Lapedi. Yeah.
I think that's a character anomaly. I think there's a Monsieur Lapidi anomaly.
You're not going to get me to Google that.
Okay.
I'm going to try to get this back on the rails here. I think we have some interesting positioning of the characters in these first 2 episodes. It's not a double long. That's the wrong way of saying it. But they aired both of these episodes back to back on one night, back at the premiere of season 5. I thought that was kind of interesting. But some Ben is continuing his metamorphosis from straight up villain to, I don't know right now, I guess, but we're kind of rooting for him. And also Sun, I thought she's kind of is definitely in a new mode for her.
Oh yeah.
To the point where I was like
slightly villainous. And you know why?
I don't know if that's
Give the people. We are going to flash forward 3 years in this episode. Well, not flash forward, but sort of. There's a 3-year time difference into the future in this episode.
Yes.
Correct. Now, can you, Will, in the year 2025, give the people the air date of this episode?
January 21st, 2009.
It is a new era.
What are you talking about? Oh.
Obama is president.
Gotcha.
I just kept imagining everybody going to the island.
But it still takes place in
2000. No, but they've...
Yeah, because they crashed in 2004, and they're there for like a month, right? Or like couple months. So like, so 3 years. It's like 2007, 2008, I think, is like the furthest in the future that they get. So we're still in under Bush. All the characters, Bush is still in
Wow.
office, I think.
Wow.
But it actually is weird
So,
that you say a new era for the show in other ways, production wise, because it's the first episode to be edited in HD.
wow.
A new era for production. But yeah,
Interesting.
both of these episodes aired January 21st, 2009. Season 5, episode 1 is called Because You Left. It was directed by Stephen Williams and written by Damon Lindelof and Carlton Cuse. You know, very regular names that we've seen
Sure.
many times by this point.
Okay. I'm a little off about the Obama thing then, I guess. Uh,
We'll
I'm a little sad. Jack is going back. Jack's like, we got to go back to the island. And then they go a little early and they're like, guys, you are never going to guess it. We are just about to have our first woman president, Hillary Clinton.
Jack, why do you want to go back so much? What's like we have to go?
Seems like
You seem
things
to
are
be
pretty
really
good
upset about the
right
election
now.
here, man. Yeah.
Things are going pretty well here, don't you think?
No, man, I just
need to go back.
Yeah, Jack's MAGA turn in Lost 2, I think would be very interesting.
Proto. Oh yeah. Sorry, in Lost 2. Yes.
Yeah. But okay, so we get not a flashback, not a flash forward, or actually, it is a flashback, not a flash forward or a fast forward, but a flashback in the late 1970s, when the Dharma Initiative has begun to build stations on the island. Dr. Pierre Chang begins to film the orientation film for the Aero Station. We see him put on a record. We see him shaving to his morning routine. We're not sure who it is.
Well, we see him wake up. We see him wake up next to his wife, and you're thinking, "Whoa, whose wife is this?" Never seen her before.
Meeting a woman for the first time.
Turns
Whoa, whose
out
wife is this?
Turns out this is a Pierre, the wife of Pierre. Bring me the wife of Pierre Chang, a fellow Frenchman, to Monsieur Lapidus.
The actor who plays Pierre Chang is Francois Chow.
For real.
Yeah.
Did they put that out in the casting call? We need a. Yeah. Okay.
Need a what, Ben?
Do we need a
Guy with a French first
guy?
name? Yeah, French guy. So yeah, we see his morning routine. And he walks onto the set of an orientation film, and he's got he puts his jacket on. I forget what it says this time, but he has all these different aliases now at this point, right? Like he's sometimes Dr. Halawax or Dr. Candle, or these different things. But he is interrupted mid script, and he's informed of an incident at the construction site of the Orchid Station. Upon arriving there, he realizes that the workers have found the unlimited energy source that the Dharma Initiative has been looking for, which will enable them to manipulate time. As he explained to the foreman, you know, they're trying to like.
What are we gonna go back in time and kill Hitler?
No, of course not. We love Hitler.
You fool. No, you fool. There are rules. Of course we can't do that. We'll be going back in time to do something probably much more inane, because this is
so
the
like,
universe of Lost. So
like what then?
Yeah.
I mean, if it's so like, I mean, it does raise the question of, yeah, if you can't, because we've learned that the rule is you can't change anything when you time travel. I guess like you can go maybe and like see something from a different perspective that would allow you to make a different future decision. Is that?
Well, we see
maybe
we get an answer to this within 2 episodes, though. As in, the next episode, we kind of get an answer to something that you can do. But yes, what does
You'll
Pierre
have to spell it
Chang?
out for me once we get there. But yeah, what does Pierre Chang want to do?
Yeah.
He bumps into one Daniel Faraday, who's dressed as a Dharma construction worker with a,
Yeah.
a Joe name tag on.
Who's this nerd that we hired to do construction all of a sudden?
Excuse me, boss. I'm just maneuvering around you here. Does this whole thing.
Yeah. I gotta say, I watched Mickey 17 at the theater yesterday, and they've got Robert Pattinson not quite doing like a Jeff Goldblum impression, but it's like
It's kind of Steve Buscemi, isn't it?
similar. I told Shelley it's like Al Capone. I've never heard Al Capone speak, but it's how I imagine Al Capone would speak.
I guess kind of. Yeah. We went and saw it this morning. We just got back.
Okay.
And he's really good. I love Robert Pattinson. He's the man.
Yeah. I kept thinking to myself, Bugsy Malone, which is another guy. Don't know what he sounded like. Don't really know anything about him, but I am confident that's how he sounded. Anyway, that's kind of what's going on
With Daniel.
Catacombs or whatever you want to call their little
Their mining
underground
operation.
expedition.
Yeah. After the island is moved on December 30th, 2004, the survivors of Oceanic Flight 815, the freighter team, and Juliet Burke begin to erratically jump through time, something Faraday likens to standing on a skipping record, while the others are unaffected.
Yes. Well, he
Yeah.
doesn't answer first because he does the regular TV or film thing of like,
there's no
"Fucking
time
idiot,
to
we don't
explain."
have time. You would never understand. There's no way I could explain it to you." And then after a little bit more insisting, he manages to explain
And getting
it.
slapped.
And getting slapped. He explains it relatively clearly in a pretty intelligible and convincing way for people in about 30 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that, like, boils down to, like, oh, you know, like, we're moving through time. We're kind of, that those flashes that we're seeing, that's us, like, comparing at different times.
Exactly.
I don't know what like standing on a skipping record is doing for me. Other than that we saw the skipping record earlier.
Yeah, it's probably that. Kind of hot in his mind, you know? I will admit, I do that a lot too. Probably with you on the podcast, with people at work, where I'm like, this thing that's happening at work, it's coincidentally exactly like this movie that I watched last night. And
Yeah.
then you kind of just force it
Yeah.
in.
Suppose so. I gotta stop and toot my own horn here for a minute. Okay, moving on. Just kidding. Okay, but I called a time loop in like season 1, I think, when we were watching this. Which isn't what's happening here, I don't think. But I thought there was gonna be time stuff. I thought they were gonna like see the events of the island happening from like a different perspective. And we start seeing that. The first time jump that is, takes them to the day when the Beechcraft carrying Mr. Echo's brother, Yemi, crashes onto the island.
Locke somehow manages to get in the line of aircrafting, line of flight,
Line of flight, I suppose,
and then
yeah.
narrowly escape that line of flight, which is good for him. Didn't quite understand the kind of physics or space of those shots, but yeah, he almost gets knocked over.
A little North by Northwest action. He also, like, I know he doesn't and immediately clock exactly what's happening. Like, oh, he is like when he sees this plane in the sky, like, oh, that's the plane. I'm back in the past when this is crashing the first time. But, you know, it goes to the crash site and is like teetering on the top of that cliff. And there's got to be another way to get up that hill, up to the thing, rather than just climbing it. Right?
Yeah.
He keeps failing to climb that cliff.
There you go. Yeah. I think he specifically catches. I, as a viewer, only understood what was going on when I see the little Virgin Mary statues
Oh
filled
yeah,
with
that happens too. Yeah,
dope or whatever. Yeah. I think that's when Locke starts to get it. But yes, then he tries to climb up and
gets shot at.
she gets shot. Yeah.
Yeah, shot in the leg by one Ethan Rom. The Moppethers are back, baby.
Yeah. Tom
He
Cruise never
hasn't.
had to deal with that when he was climbing up that cliff face in the beginning of Mission Impossible 2.
Yeah. Yeah, Ethan has not yet met John Locke and therefore does not recognize him. Meanwhile, Sawyer, Juliet, and the freighter team head to the Swan Station in order to determine where they are. Swan Station being that hatch of great import from season 2. I'm new. I can't really remember the different names, like Swan Station. Okay. The Orchid is the one with the big wheel that moves the island. But there's also there's the Tempest. There's
I think the Tempest is the one in the water, probably.
okay.
Why it's called the Tempest, I think.
There's what's the medical station? Remember the name of that?
No.
And then there's also the one the surveillance station too.
The Oculus.
Yeah, there's something with
like
there's
that.
something like the octopus or something. There's something. Oh, there's some O word. But anyway, a second jump brings the group forward in time to after the destruction of the station, while Locke is approached by Richard Alpert, who recognizes Locke and treats his wound. He informs Locke that they will be strangers at their next meeting and explains that the only way to stop the erratic movements through time is to bring everyone who is left to the island. And to do that, Locke will have to die. As part of this, too, Richard says here, you'll run into me later, I won't recognize you, but you give me this. And he hands him the compass, which was the compass that we saw young Locke not be able to choose as his own in his, little test that Richard gave him. Another jump brings them to the past. They find that the Swan Station is now intact. Sawyer tries to contact Desmond Hume, who is inside, but Daniel asserts that the past cannot be changed, and since Desmond did not know Sawyer already when they first met, Sawyer cannot be successful. No one answers, and everyone heads back to the beach. It should also be said that Sawyer is shirtless this whole time. He's looking around for a shirt, asking for a shirt, but he is just...
He demands
demanding shirts. Yeah.
Demands a shirt of Daniel.
Mm-hmm.
Lost heads are... Daniel heads specifically freaking out. And they're like, oh, hell
yes.
Yeah. Give him your shirt. Give him your shirt. Let's see.
I think
Daniel
he should just
abs.
hand it over his tie, and then Sawyer's got this stripper look where he just has a tie
look,
on.
Yeah. Nice.
It is goofy that Daniel has this skinny tie on the helmet. It's not a good look.
He's got definitely slim fit shirt going on too. Not a big baggy one. Unfortunate, or maybe not. People demand what's under Daniel's shirt. Show it to us. Show it to us in season 5.
Yeah. No one answers. Sawyer's pounding, and everyone heads back to the beach, except for Daniel, who very, very cleverly and subtly is like, oh, I forgot my pouch. That's right. Ah, so stupid. Let me go back and I'll just catch up with you guys. Makes the biggest deal out of it.
Yeah.
He doubles back, stays behind, and knocks again. And Desmond emerges, dressed in hazmat suit, brandishing a gun. And Wikipedia Man says, thus belying Daniel's original assertion.
Nice.
I hate it when my original assertion becomes belied. Daniel tells
This
Desmond
is what I
that
was talking. This is what I was talking about. By the
what?
way,
Yes,
though
okay.
I don't think it belies. I don't think it belies the assertion.
I
think it's
don't think so either.
yeah.
Daniel tells Desmond that if Desmond's future self and the survivors of 815 make it off the island on the helicopter, then he should go to Oxford University and find Daniel's mother in order to help the survivors. Another jump occurs just before Daniel can give his mother's name. So Desmond is special, right? Because he says that too. Like he's got this special relationship to time, or it affects him differently or whatever. But now that he's gone through the constant, he kind of has a bit more. He time travels, I guess, or since he's a bit unstuck in time himself. Like he'll be able to have these. Or I guess we thought that the flashes were resolved, but he apparently still will have them. So we see him like wake up, or come to, and know what to do next with Penny.
Yep.
In 2007, back in Los Angeles. So I guess that gives us the date, right? 2 lawyers deliver a court order to Kate, demanding a maternity test for her and Aaron, who is Claire's son, whom Kate is raising as her own, but refused to reveal their client's identity. Hey, give us your blood.
They seem to be lawyers/nurse, lawyers/nurses. They're like, we'll be entering because we're lawyers, and also we will be taking the sample from you here today.
I don't buy it.
No. I did always imagine as a kid, like my daydreams as an adult were always to be a, hyphenated professional, to always be like, I am the Super Bowl winning quarterback who also happens to be the doctor who will fix my own leg or whatever in the Super Bowl, something like that.
And James Bond.
And James Bond. I'm kind of James Bond, but I'm straight edge instead.
I'm like the lame James Bond.
I'm not straight edge, folks. I only wrote my college entrance essay basically imagining that exact scenario.
I forgot that. God, that sucks. I didn't realize that we had to write a essay to get into the University of Iowa.
No, we didn't.
Oh, so I see.
This essay,
so it didn't work out.
Essay did not get me into any of the schools that I wanted to go to.
What if James Bond didn't drink?
It was literally, what if I was James Bond, but I was respectful to women and I wasn't really that interested in drinking?
All of the nerdiest schools are like, this guy's too much of a nerd. This guy sucks. No.
This guy sucks, yeah.
I guess, yeah, if someone shows up to your door and is like, give me your blood and your son's blood, Kate does the right thing and says no.
No. Yeah, I will be thinking about this episode. I will take Kate's example as a good one. The model response. Lawyers are always telling you, don't talk to cops. And if a lawyer shows up asking for your blood, don't talk to them either.
If anyone does.
That's true.
Yeah.
I hadn't considered that. I'd only consider the lawyer thing.
Yeah. It seems kind of unrealistic that someone would, like, did they really think that she was going to be like, well, here, have some blood?
Sure, yeah, come on in.
Yeah. In London, while en route to Los Angeles, Son is confronted by Charles Widmore at the airport. He's led into a back room and security guard posted outside. She tells him that she wants to kill Benjamin Linus, a desire they seem to have in common. Although I remember in Charles's flat, Ben say something about like, you can't kill me, or maybe Charles Woodmore says that to Ben. Like, I don't know if they can actually like kill each other, but they can foil each other's plan. This is me kind of like guessing.
Yeah, they're like Greek god style. You gotta. We can't kill each other, but we can have weird proxy murders.
Ben and Jack learn from the TV that Hurley has broken out, hindering Ben's plan to reunite the Oceanic Six.
I just heard this on the television. Did you hear this about Hurley?
After his escape, Hurley and Saeed go to a safe house, which has been infiltrated by 2 armed men.
What if a safe house wasn't safe?
Damn.
That makes for a good story. A good little turn in this story today.
Saeed kills the men, one of them by like punching them, and he goes over the railing off the top floor of this hotel.
Yeah.
And then he kills the other one by suplexing him onto like an open dishwasher with knives in it. That's a cool kill.
Very cool kill. Very cool kill. And very like, cringe worthy.
This is a John Wick kill.
It's a John Wick, but it's also maybe Ben accidentally killing myself sometime later this week. Because like I was just thinking about, I trip over Shelly likes to leave the door open. She thinks it'll smell bad if you close it, even though we rinse off the stuff, but she was like, oh, you have to have it ajar. And so our thing ends up like being down, and I trip over it a lot. I was just thinking about this.
You're not washing your knives in the dishwasher, though.
No, not quite. But table knives,
like your chef knife.
Not a chef knife, definitely. Yeah. And no, but like those butter knives. Our butter knives are, our table knives are pointy. They could.
Yeah, that's true. I guess you fall on
even a fork that hurt.
Fall on a fork.
A spoon would hurt. They'd all hurt.
Yeah. But you should show Shelly this episode as like see what we're risking.
Yeah.
Shelly's like, I'd rather you impale yourself than have it stinky. So good luck. So yeah, gets a couple of cool kills off, but not before one of them shoots him with 2 potent drugged darts, knocking him unconscious. Meanwhile, Ben and Jack have left the funeral parlor with Locke's body. On a boat in an unknown location, Desmond wakes up having remembered what Daniel told him, and sets off for Oxford. So yeah, Ben and Jack have teamed up. This is kind of a cool link. Cool Lincoln build.
Okay. I don't know if I agree. I don't know if I agree. I'm not.
That they've teamed up, or that it's cool?
No, I agree that they've kind of teamed up, but I don't think I agree that it's cool. It seems very similar to what they've been doing for a while now, which is, being cautious. Let me just make up another idiom. Cautious bedfellows? Is that the phrase?
Sure. I know what you're saying.
Yep. That common. That's
sure,
what
I'll
came
sleep
to
with
mind.
you, but I'll be careful about it.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's a common phrase.
Yeah. I'm sure. Yes, I guess. Yeah. I think, though, this is the first time Jack is... It seems like he's falling in line with Ben more than he has so far. Like, so far, Jack has been a tough one to wrangle for Ben.
Sure.
For him to do what he wants.
He's going through his... what's like the mystical equivalent of... he's going through his woke period. Jack's eyes have awoken to the magic of the island,
Yeah.
He's an I want to let's go back guy. We got to go back guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, maybe appropriate, like dark woke and plane crashes and all of that. Okay.
Yeah.
Lots of connections to our modern world here. We don't see yet what makes Jack a believer, or like why he wants to get back to the island. Um, but presumably we'll see that. There was a moment where Ben is talking to Jack. Yeah, they're in the funeral parlor and they're talking about, okay, we got to get Locke's body, who's Jeremy Bentham now apparently, into his van. And Michael Emerson's Iowa came through. I don't know if you caught this, but he says, "Let's get him in the van."
Get him in the van?
Yeah,
No, I didn't. I'm not sure I follow. Is this an Iowa accent thing?
yeah. There's
Him.
Iowa. Get him.
Get him in the van? Get him?
Get him. Yeah.
Oh,
Instead of
okay.
get him.
I don't know
Get
if
him
I've
in the
heard that,
van.
or maybe I've just heard it so many times that it doesn't register.
It's not the most common.
Okay.
But I've heard it from like older Iowans.
Mm.
Not
He is
saying
an
Michael
older
Emerson is
Iowan.
an old Iowan, but maybe
Kind of is an older Iowan.
I guess
He's
at
like
this point.
70 now.
You say 90.
He is like 70 now, I think, isn't he?
Probably. Um Oh, there your I'm just looking through my other stray observations. One of the lawyers, I think, that talked to Kate at the door identified himself as Dan something or other. And I thought you would be happy about this because we've got multiple Dans now.
Oh, yes, that's
People
true.
sharing names.
Yes. Also, wait, crap, what were the lawyers' names? One of them was a partner, was a named partner at the firm. They were, they're like, "Hello, we're lawyers from Sullivan and Sons, and I'm I'm Sons. I'm Mr. Sons."
Dan's sons. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's good. I did not catch that. I'm glad.
And speaking of names and code names, when Saeed and Hurley are rolling out to the safe house, Saeed's like, says something about, because since Bentham died, and Hurley's like, "You mean Locke?" He's like, "Yes, I mean Locke." And Hurley says, "I need a cool code name." Thanks for
Mm.
I'm loving Hurley as always, but especially loving him these episodes. He's kind of the moral center of the show, and also like responding to some of the goofier aspects of Lost with
Yeah.
like okay, he's got a different name now, but just like I want a code name.
It is kind of a goofy thing I was thinking about while watching these episodes specific to Hurley is like I don't know. I guess I should give the writers credit that they didn't go too deep down the like twee like Zoe Deschanel style uh goofiness that would have been very common at this period in time. Did
In
you
this
agree with
episode, Juliet
that?
finds a ukulele.
Well, not that. Just like I mean, they do have Hurley, like you said, respond to goofy stuff, and like I was calling out
Oh
which
no, yeah, not like
characters.
well that happened kind of stuff.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I was calling out. I was laughing to myself this episode because when I spoke to you last week or whatever, I said something about, or in a recent episode of ours, like something about which characters have said like we've got to go back now. And it's very easy with the voice that they've given Hurley to imagine him doing a, like, well, that happened type of thing. Or
Yeah, I hear you.
well, I guess we got to go back now.
I've got a back feeling about this.
We got a back feeling.
Yeah, I'm glad that they're not doing that. I'm sorry, like it's a good it's this is tough to pull off and you can only do it if you're good enough at writing, but there's a certain amount of being self-aware that is good without it turning into like it's corny, maybe is the
Sure.
word. And I think Lindelof is actually quite good at this. Like you see, he's having a sense of humor enough about what you're writing, but still, it's still earnest. I think that's what it is. You're still earnest about the goofy stuff, but you can also recognize and be like, yeah, that's a little goofy, but I mean it. That's the important part.
Yeah.
Versus, the like, oh, they fly now stuff is like you're trying to like be one step removed from it and still be above it.
Sure.
Which that I think rings a
You're
lot
still
hollower.
you still got to make a show, not a show about your show. A show that just becomes like a meta exercise in like,
Yeah.
this is the kind of shit that this character would say because people like watching Lost.
And I guess I got to say too, like I maybe this is the place to say it. I think Joss Whedon maybe has taken an unfair amount of heat. He might actually be good at that kind of stuff. Just saying. We threw out an episode of Buffy recently. I think it's just I think most of the fallout from the Whedon style humor is people trying to do it. And he was just better at it. And he was still making the show. He still cared about, the plot and the story. And I don't, like the humor as much as well, I mean, it's just, it's 20 years old at this point, like those kinds of like quippy types of things. But it works better than other worse examples, I think. Mounting a tepid defense of Joss Whedon here.
Okay.
Of his writing, I should say.
Okay.
I forget what he got canceled for, but I think he got,
Yeah, he's
Me Too or something.
Harvey Weinstein style stuff or something, maybe, possibly.
Was it that bad?
I don't know. I thought that's what you were defending just now. I didn't know you were talking about the writing stuff until you just said that last sentence.
Come on. Other funny part of the episode, when Sawyer slaps Daniel, Charlotte gives a big "Oi!"
Yeah, that was funny too. I can't remember where she's from now because of that. That really did throw me off. Is she supposed to be Australian? Is she another British person?
I feel like she's British, but it could be either. But I feel like I remember listening to her voice thinking it was Penelope's voice. Or Penny's voice. Not Penny's voice.
Commonwealther.
One of those.
She's some kind of
Commonwealth. Yeah, she's
Commonwealthers.
French Canadian.
Yeah.
Wait, that's probably specifically not part of the Commonwealth.
I think Canada is.
Is it?
Yep.
All of Canada? All right.
Yep.
Alrighty. Shout out to them. I'm gonna give this a 4 out of 5. I'm excited for this season. This was good.
Yeah, this is like a light 4 for me. But yeah, I agree. Good episode.
The fresh start feels good. I'm always reluctant to get into a new season for some reason. I don't know why, but like I just want to take a break when we're at a season. And then, once I get back into it, I'm fine. And that's what's going on here. I'm interested. You got me.
When they did commercials for Lost, the commercial style that's like, maybe this isn't a thing anymore because I'm basing this off of like the last time I would have watched live TV, which would have probably been around 2009 or something. But like, the commercial style where they like, it'll be like an ad for FX, the TV channel or whatever. And they kind of like take little lines from all of their TV shows and cut it together. And it'll be like, watch FX every night on TV there's a 10 new episodes or whatever, and then it'll cut to like, Batman saying like, wow, that's incredible or something.
Yeah.
Whatever Batman would say.
Wow, Alfred, that's incredible.
Wow, that's awesome.
I love movies.
Did they do that? Did they like advertise Lost that way? I mean, I don't know why I'm acting like it's so precious that they couldn't do it that way, but I don't know. It's just
I
funny to imagine
will
for some
all
reason.
but guarantee it. And the reason I say that is because we're watching this on Blu-ray again, because this is the only season, or season 4 was the only show of, or episode, season of the show that we didn't have on Blu-ray, but we've got it on Blu-ray this time. And we're now in a new era for Blu-rays, or for like DVDs or whatever, where the Blu-ray stuff, like in 2009 or whatever they sold this, or a little bit after, the technology's there, where now like the Blu-ray experience is fucking crazy and really bad. Like they're like trying to go all in on it, and there was like this big like warning right when you put the disc in. It's like, warning, this Blu-ray might stop for 2 to 3 minutes at a time because we're loading all of these features. I'm like, well, this seems really bad. and they're trying to like integrate like something called season play that I think you're supposed to get like a subscription to, like ABC Blu-ray type shit. Like I don't know, it's so whack. But also part of loading the Blu-ray, and I kind of like doing this when you put in like an older DVD or Blu-ray to see like what were they advertising at the time, like what movies were coming out, or what TV shows, and like what was the style of the advertising. And it was doing all of, the ABC fall lineup or whatever it was. And they just kept like, I don't think I got spoiled for anything, but they're definitely showing like clips of Lost, like later clips of Lost that we haven't seen yet. And it was like just sound bites and stuff. And so it was like Kate looking really distraught. It's like, okay, of course, or something. I can't even remember what it was, but
Yeah.
but Zoe and I were like, oh no, wait, stop. But yeah, they were definitely advertising the whole network with sound bites in that way that you were describing on the Blu-ray.
Okay. Yeah. I guess it's not. Yeah, I mean it's a goofy show. I don't know why I would think it would be above that somehow. They probably do that for like whoever owns Schindler's List or something. They probably
Jesus.
do a quote from Liam Neeson or something,
I know that they do. I mean, they still do it for like HBO does those kinds of things with all of their stuff, but they're supposed to, that's prestige stuff. So I don't think that anything is like, at least TV wise about that, but like
maybe content wise. I feel like I'm pushing it with the Schindler's List thing,
yeah,
it's probably not good. Shouldn't do
the
that.
real zone of interest is your television screen this Sunday.
Yeah. People have probably tried. Let's say that. I'm sure the networks have
I'm sure
tried.
there's been some poor taste ads. Yeah.
Yes. There have been even worse ones that have been left on the cutting room floor.
Mm-hmm. This episode of Lost on Ice is brought to you by Ben and I. Thanks for listening to the podcast. Please consider subscribing to our YouTube channel and telling a friend about the show. Let's talk about season 5, episode 2, called The Lie, that also aired January 21st, 2009, immediately after the previous episode. If you were a Lost head, you were eating good on this Wednesday night. Is that when they were?
January 21st?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Obama's not president yet. Or maybe he just became president that day.
That day.
Or 2 days later, something like that. I can't remember. I think it's the 23rd.
It was the day before. Tuesday, January 20th, 2009 was the inauguration of the first inauguration of President Barack Obama.
Can you imagine like a huge John McCain head being a huge Lost fan? You're like, crying, eating popcorn to yourself. The era of bad feelings begins. I'm glad I have lost.
At least I have lost,
At
yeah.
least I have lost.
This episode was written by Edward Kitsis and Adam Horowitz, and it was directed by one Jack Bender, the big dog. On the island, the remaining survivors are attempting to start a fire when they are attacked by a barrage of flaming arrows. We get a scene between Bernard and Rose arguing about how to start a fire. Bernard eventually pulls it off, but then goes out because he was doing it wrong. Because all of their camp supplies disappeared with the time shifting.
Yep.
Right? Some of the survivors are able to escape, but one guy specifically, there's a few of them, but one guy in particular are not able to escape and are killed brutally.
Son of Steve. I'm just gonna spiritually the son of Steve Buscemi. I don't know who this guy is. Do you
I
know
also
who
wrote
the
that
actor
down.
is?
We're talking about Neil Frogert.
Steve Buscemi ass name right there.
Why is did I miss why they're calling him Frogert? I guess due to his profession as a frozen yogurt salesman. Sean Whalen.
Sean Whalen. Sounds familiar.
And or Whelan. Or no, Whalen. It's Whalen. This seems to be his only role, maybe. But they did put him in a red shirt right before killing him too, so they know what they're doing with that. Oh no, he's in other stuff. Let's see. Oh, he was in Twister. Anyway. He was in the first Got Milk commercial. There you have it. But yeah, he gets killed with a flaming arrow, really fucked up by the arrow.
Yeah.
Kind of a brutal network TV death. Some of the survivors are able to escape, but yeah, Neil Frogert and a few others are killed, and Sawyer and Juliet are separated from the group. Lost in the jungle, they are captured by a group of armed military men who demand to know who they are, asserting that the island is theirs. The men are about to cut off Juliet's hand to extract information when one John Locke ambushes them, helping Sawyer and Juliet free themselves. Man's got the knife throwing down. That's his move. That's his special move. If there's like a lost fighting game, be like, get the knife throws.
Yeah. They got a good, it's funny you say the game thing. They've set themselves up for, to me, 100% non-gamer over here, set themselves up for a good video game with these couple episodes or so with the time traveling stuff. It strikes me as the kind of thing that video gamers like to play.
I actually am like, I'm wondering if there's going to be a reveal at the end of this was a video game. If there's going to be some like video game connection to this. I don't know why.
Like we were playing video games the whole time?
Yeah.
Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Like you think the last episode of Lost is like
zoom out of the
Hurley
TV.
woke up.
It's like pass the chips, and they're like,
okay.
"Oh, you lost." Like new game. You're out of lives.
You lost.
That's lost. Yeah,
that's great. That'd be very funny. I mean, again, I haven't seen the last episode, so can neither confirm nor deny. But I do think that'd be very funny if that's how it ended after they put all that effort into all these episodes along the way of like, no,
it's not in his head.
We're not in his head. No, everybody's not just like dead or whatever. Blah 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 blah. Yeah.
They're actually there.
These
apparitions are actually.
It's completely different. Hurley's been playing a video game. It's not in his head. It's different. These are the 2000s, the 2009, 2010 by the time this thing ends.
Speaking of the 2000s, in 2007, Jack Shepard and Ben Linus part ways, with Ben taking Locke's body to a butcher for safekeeping. He's got people everywhere. He's got connections everywhere. I love seeing that part of Ben. It's one of these things where, like, okay, he's got his. If we hadn't seen Ben be born, I would kind of think that he is this immortal being that has just like always been around. But we did see him be born or become born. I think.
Sure. We think so, yeah.
Yeah.
I think so too. He's a
But
kind
yeah,
of a
Jill the Butcher.
Miami Vice style. I don't know why I said Miami Vice. Maybe that's not exactly the best pull. What if instead of Michael Emerson, it was just Colin Farrell and Jamie Foxx in this show? And instead of
interesting.
Lost, it was Miami Vice.
I mean, but that's not a bad comp because there's like, yeah, it's a trope in action media, wherever, to just have like, you know, the like deep connections wherever you go, just kind of be able to pull out a stash somewhere. It's like this little subtle world building that happens with these kinds of things. So
I got a butcher for that. Wasn't that a 2000s ad? Like there's an app for that. Is that like an Apple thing?
There's a butcher for that.
There's a butcher for that. Is there? What is that? There's an app for that. Was that an Apple thing?
Yeah.
Okay. Nice.
Ben tells Jack to collect any personal items he really wants and meet up with him in 6 hours. Also, flushes his pills down the toilet and is like, you know, Jack's like going through the pockets on his coat, and Ben's like, looking for your pills, druggo? And Jack's like, yes. Ben's like, well, I flushed them in the toilet. Jack's like, well, that's what I was about to do. Anyway, so good. All right, let's gonna move on.
Nice. Good cover. Everybody in the show is so good at lying.
Yep. Meanwhile, Kate and I was about to give those pills to charity, actually. I was going to donate those pills to a poor child. Meanwhile, Kate and Aaron, her adopted son, have fled their home to escape lawyers. To escape lawyers demanding a maternity test.
They should have really extended the show just completely needlessly on these types of things. You know, have like a whole half-season arc of lawyers, you know, chasing her, kind of CIA style, Jason Bourne style or something like that.
I'm thinking Matrix style. Like,
doesn't really lead anywhere. Yeah, go for it.
With a bunch of Hugo Weavings, thousands of them running after Kate.
Give us your blood.
What was his name?
They're Batman.
What was the character's name in Matrix?
Mr.
Anderson?
Anderson.
No, that's what he called.
Dr. No. I was going to say. I'm just Dr. Mr. Anderson.
No, Agent,
that's
Agent Smith or something, right?
Smith, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Because he says, Mr. Anderson.
Yes, that's Neo.
Yeah. They meet up with Sun at a hotel, who implies that Kate should take whatever measures are necessary to protect Aaron. In a very weird way, she says like this crazy line. It's like, you would do anything to keep Aaron, wouldn't you? Something like that. Do you remember it? You just saw this.
Yeah.
Okay.
And she's like, you would always make like the correct
hard decision.
The hard decision to protect him. And then she's like back on the boat when my husband died, you said that you would go find him and you didn't. But if you had done that, then all of us would have died instead of just my husband dying on the boat.
Yeah.
I get what you're getting at, that she's a little weird. You're being a little weird.
I even wrote down in my notes, like, I don't think this is Sun.
Sun? Question mark?
Yeah. But then she does, Look, just the line she says it such a weird line that she says. And I'm like, this isn't son. But then she forgives Kate for leaving her husband on the freighter when it explodes.
Hmm.
Oh. Meanwhile, let's talk about the Hurley storyline. Hurley and Saeed are on the run after they are attacked at their safe house. Hurley drives the unconscious Saeed, who has been hit by True Dug darts, to his parents' house. On the way, Hurley is pulled over by a cop. One Ana Lucia Cortez, a deceased Oceanic Flight 815 survivor and former LAPD officer. She gives him an advice on how to avoid the real cops. She's just like, what are you doing? Don't stop for cops. Think about it. What if I was real? I liked it. I gotta say, wasn't a fan of Ana Lucia, but like, this was a good scene.
Yeah. She looks directly into the camera and says, "Take it from me, the real actress who portrays Ana Lucia. I once was stopped by cops for driving drunk, and now I only get a cameo like 3 seasons later. Don't drive drunk.
Michelle Rodriguez is doing fine. Yeah.
She's doing fine.
She's in the driving franchise.
Yeah, I mean, no, I'm not.
And the drinking franchise.
No disrespect. Wait, what's the drinking franchise?
They're always drinking Coronas.
Oh, in the driving one. Yeah. True.
No, yeah, that's right. You're pro drunk driving. You've said many times.
No.
Oh.
That was
you want to clear it up? What's your stance on You don't?
No.
All right.
I don't want to clear it up either.
Very well.
I'll leave that one as an exercise to the listeners. What do you think?
Listeners, you write in. What's your stance? Comment down below. Upon arriving home, okay, also, before they get home, Hurley stops off at a gas station to buy a different shirt. It's a big yellow shirt that says "I Heart Shih Tzus" on it.
Yep.
And the gas station attendant recognizes him, but as the guy who won the lottery and then got on that plane crash, not necessarily as the triple murder suspect.
Who's also the same guy on the TV behind him.
Yes,
yeah.
Upon arriving home, Hurley's dad.
Well,
David,
sorry.
What?
Again, before arriving home, Hurley's father, Cheech, as he's known in the show, is making like the highest calorie sandwich one could possibly make in the year 2009.
He was the audience surrogate for being like, oh man, I don't want to put this on Cheech Marin for like hating that McCain lost, but he was like, I can't wait to like escape this crappy world and watch my TV show.
He does do a move that I've never seen before. You know, I don't know that I count as I don't think I'm a gourmand, and I certainly wouldn't call myself a foodie either, but I do like the art of eating.
That fucking sucks.
But he pulls a move I have never seen in any of my years of eating, which is jumping like a tub of caviar onto his like.
Yes, there's so much caviar.
Salami sandwich. I've never seen caviar go onto usually like a bread or like a cracker, but he does caviar onto a salami sandwich. And like
this is gourmand behavior for you to be chiming in about where the caviar is supposed to go.
Gourmand, yeah. Well,
it's very relatable sandwich making. I gotta say though, it's like I'll do crazy shit with sandwiches. Are you kidding me?
Sure.
I'm spreading all sorts of stuff. Like that's the freedom of the sandwich. It's like you can get nutty with it and you can try stuff. You can be like, actually, it turns out it's really good.
It's just
when you put like all these pickles and peanut butter and eggs on it.
Yeah, but I mean, caviar is usually not something that you have like lying around. You know, probably put like
they're money.
That's true. Yeah, putting
he
caviar
blew
on
the
sandwich,
fortune on caviar.
Putting putting caviar in your sandwich is like, I mean, I think it's stupid to do it in a restaurant too, but it's similar to like, it's like in a restaurant when people serve you like, oh, this is ice cream with like gold foil or whatever. And you were making ice cream for yourself at home. And you're like, ooh, I would have put some gold on my at home ice cream or something too. Very, very goofy.
But also, I'm also thinking like spreading the gold on your sandwich, but then also just like licking the spoon of gold and just like when you're done with it,
Yeah.
just a little hint of gold for me. I can't. I feel like I've had caviar, but I'm not sure. It's like salty, probably, right? It's like
It's not
fish
that
eggs.
good.
So
Yeah. It's okay. It's okay. Yeah, but it's not. I did not have caviar at home.
at the
I've had it
time, it's probably like
very
height
few
of
times.
luxury type thing,
Probably, yeah.
or for someone of
Aren't they supposed to be going through 2007? Is there a housing crisis yet?
No.
Okay. We'll see what happens
Or I
with
mean,
Hugo's
I guess like
money.
an impending one, right? Like it's
An impending one, yeah. Hugo, they probably got the house based off of that housing crisis.
you don't think that Hurley paid cash for that?
I mean, that's true, but it was probably developed the same
Oh
way that
yeah,
they're
without
developing so many,
Yeah.
well, just developing so many communities like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, Cheech covers for Hurley when the police show up and suggest that Hurley take Saeed to the hospital. Hurley refuses, and David ends up taking Saeed to Jack, who's successful in reviving him at the hospital. At home, Hurley confesses to his mother, Carmen, that the Oceanic Six have been lying. She believes him, though doesn't understand his disjointed story. This is a touching scene. Hurley and his mom. Hurley's got morals, man. He wants to do the right thing, and like the weight of lying has just been, really eating at him. Later, Smooth Ben unexpectedly shows up at the house. You notice that? How smooth Mike Emerson was looking?
He doesn't, I don't think he actually has a quarter zip on, but he's got something. He's got like a very sleek, like black, like cashmere look to him. Whatever he's wearing, he's got some jacket or something, but he's smooth. He's smooth with Jack earlier. He's literally smooth.
I mean, like his face look. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
Yes, yeah.
His face is all smoothed out.
Yeah, not as bug-eyed. Not as bug-eyed as before on the island.
I disagree. I think he is just as eyes wide open, but just smoother. They're shooting him more flatteringly. Usually on the island, they just like put like a wide angle lens like up in his face.
Sure.
And that's just how they film stuff on the island anyway. But like when they're off the island on locations and stuff, they will shoot on longer lenses, which compresses that a little bit and is a little bit more flattering.
Okay.
I think that's what's going on more than anything else. But yeah, Smooth Ben unexpectedly shows up at Hurley's house and tries to convince him to go with Ben to meet up with the rest of the Oceanic Six, saying they all want the same thing. You and me, baby, we're nothing but mammals. We all want the same thing. Let's go back to the island. Hurley wavers for a moment, then runs outside and turns himself in to the police watching the house, having been advised by Saeed to do the opposite of whatever Ben asks. Hurley's like, hey, it's me. I'm here. I killed 4 people or 3 people or however many you said. It was me. Whatever. Just take me to jail. Get me out of here. Kind of a funny moment. Later, this was the coolest scene. We see like cyber wizardry or something going on. We get a hooded figure typing away at a terminal.
And writing, kind of dual wielding, typing on a terminal that's
double fisting,
constantly flashing green, and then also chalk on a chalkboard with math looking equations.
Mm-hmm.
It
And
is
there's
very funny.
this
They kind of have they have
pendulum.
this person. Yes, there's a pendulum. Another thing that you would love to have in your lair if you were like a weird, lair having
Nothing wrong with a
person.
pendulum.
Nothing wrong with a pendulum. It adds a lot of mystery. Somebody comes into your lair and they're like, "What's up with that?" Don't see that in a lair very often. I see a lot of
Mm-hmm.
computers. I see a lot of
I'm thinking about
chalkboards.
getting a pendulum, by the way.
Not a lot of pendulums. Okay, nice. I
Thank you.
like I like that whoever our little math wizard is or wizard is, they write a math.
Sorcerer.
They're writing some math stuff on the board, and
Mm-hmm.
usually somebody like in a TV show will like write out like a full equation or something like that, or like a big phrase, and then they'll like erase it and rewrite it. And they do that here, but it's like literally like just to write like sigma, and then it kind of looks weird, and then like uh uh contemplates it and like erases it and then just like rewrites it with better handwriting. I thought
That's a
I
good
thought that was
touch.
kind of funny. Yeah.
This is a tough symbol. um, but it's the mysterious woman that Desmond met during his time travel after he turned the Hatch's key,
Hmm.
who tells him she has found the island. And she tells and Ben's there. Sorry, yeah. Um like lighting candles and stuff like upstairs. Yeah, Ben visits this mysterious woman and she tells him that she has found the island and Ben has only 70 hours to return to it with Locke's corpse and the Oceanic Six. Super cool. Very cool. Whatever's going on with this wizardry.
Yeah. There's like the
Loving
pendulum's
it.
like going back and forth
Seems to be
and
making marks.
making marks, making a lot of marks, and it seems like my read is, it's making marks of
Hey,
like
kids,
where the islands are.
kids, did you leave the pendulum going? There's a bunch of marks all over the floor.
Marking out where the island might be or maybe where it's been in the past or something like that. Adding, yeah, a lot of extra marks. I got to say, if you got a pendulum kind of making uh crosses, marks on the ground or whatever, you only need two. X marks the spot as they say. You
Unless it's
don't you
moving
don't
around,
need.
baby.
No, no, no,
Unless
but
you
that's not really what they're doing though. They've got like the pendulum going back and forth so all the lines are intersecting at the same, point basically.
But
You only need one. You only need one
there
intersection.
must be some sort of rotation happening, right? To make the
Yes.
pendulum not just do like a straight line or whatever. And
Yeah.
so maybe is it all intersecting at one point?
Yes.
Oh, well.
Well, there were a
Well,
couple
you
there were
got him.
like there were some different patches like she had done this before. And you see like a map on the computer screen or something like that, and you see the the chalk stuff from the pendulum translated onto the computer screen as well. So it looks like maybe she'd been tracking the island in past moves as well, or something like that. You only need one intersection. That's all I'm saying. Save your chalk.
Save your chalk. Maybe it's a big pain in the ass to stop the pendulum.
That's true. I'll give it that. I'll just let it keep running.
Then I'm gonna give this episode a 4 out of 5.
This was getting a 3 from me. It's not as good. It was a
I
little
like this one more
it's
than
a
the
little
first episode,
dry.
in fact.
Okay. Okay.
A couple of
I'll tell you what, folks, I'll keep watching. I'll keep watching the show. I haven't
that's your
decided to
promise.
terminate after these 2 episodes. A 3 and a 4, I'll keep it going.
Fair enough. Another quick couple things to say about the episode. We see Vincent briefly hanging out on the beach.
Yes.
Love to see
Seems to
Vincent.
have time traveled, right?
Yeah, he's with he counts as a
Yeah.
survivor.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
getting at.
He's with the rest of them, yeah. And I don't know if I said this earlier, but we see expose on TV. That's what David is sitting down to watch.
I think they should go deep. I mean, they have to get lucky, but go deep into the future. And then Vincent is talking dog once they've solved
Yeah.
animal human conversation or whatever.
Mm-hmm. I love that. That's going to be it for the show today. If you like the show and want to hear more from Ben and I, consider joining our Patreon at patreon.com/Dr. Skeleton. Every week, Ben and I release a bonus hangout show and get into the stuff that we just can't talk about on the main show. Right into the show at drskeletinsartschool@gmail.com. Comment down below whether you support or regard with disgust drunk driving. Next week, we are watching Season 5, Episodes 3 and 4. Thanks for listening.